Hello and welcome back to ISpeakSpokeSpoken.com, and my name is James, and today we're going to be talking about the most common mistakes that English learners make, and this is part one of the video. So let's have a look. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about is subject-verb agreement. What is subject-verb agreement? Okay, I'll let you know. What subject-verb agreement is when we have a pronoun, he, she, it, they, we, and how that is going to relate to a verb. So let's have a look. So in the present simple tense, we have she sings. Here we go. Look, so the correct one is she sings. What would be incorrect is if we were saying she sing. Can you spot what is different about these two sentences? Exactly. We add the S on the end. And when we have he, she, and it, we use the S. So we would have she sings, he sings, and it sings. Perfect. But we wouldn't say they dances. What would we say instead? Yes, we would use the main form of the verb, they dance. Very good. All right, so now let's have a look at some pronunciation. And throughout the video, we have these words that have red bits here. And this is the phonetic transcription of the words that we are talking about. And this is very good to practice along with. And I mean, you can practice along with every other word that I'm using, but these are ones that we think will help you, and we would really advise that you repeat and repeat and repeat until you're sick of the words and you just have them perfectly, which I know you will. So let's have a look at these. Dance. If you want to repeat after me, dance. Great. So, quite often we have stresses in words. And what a stress is when a part of the word is used a lot stronger than another part of the word. It is stressed. However, in the word dance, dance is a one-syllable word. That means dance. There's only one syllable, there's only one beat in that word there, which means we don't have any stresses. You can only have stresses when you have more than one syllable in a word. So let's have a look at a word with more than one syllable, which we have nicely created just here, which is dances. Let's have a look at this, shall we? So, dances. Which part of the word do you think is more stressed? Dances. Very good. Yes, it's the first part. It's this part here. And it is indicated by our pause here and by these two symbols here. So dances, dances. All right, if you'd like to repeat after me and remember, practice that stress. Dances, dances. Very good. And you can do a little dance while you're saying it as well, if you like. All right, let's move on. And next up, we have collective nouns. And in English, when you are talking about a group of people, quite often, and it would be logical to think that we would just say that they are more than one person. And obviously, when we have in English, I, you, we would say I am, you are, he is, they are, we are, you see? So you would think that you need to say the team, where are we? So the team are playing well. But what we would say in British English is the team is playing well. Because what we are doing is that we can see the team and we're seeing it as one thing. We're not seeing it as a group of people. We're seeing it as just one thing. And in American English, they would say the team are playing well. So that's the difference there between British English and American English. And you can use either, just depends on what you want, how you want to sound when you're speaking English. So let's have a look at some other ones here. So the team are playing well is correct. What is it? is incorrect. Is incorrect, I'm sorry. So let's have a look at a correct one here. So instead of saying the committee meet today, which would be the plural form of this, so they meet, what we're saying is the committee meets today. So which pronoun would you say that the committee is here? Is it he, she, it? Is it they? Yes, we're saying it as an it, right? It's one singular thing, one noun. So the committee meets today. You're going to add that S as we just talked about in the previous one. Which one is incorrect? Let's have a look. So yeah, the committee meet today would be incorrect. And as we just did before, let's go back and have a look at some pronunciation. So, how would you say this word? If you want to say it out loud first, and then I will go. So, how would you say this? Let me know. Okay, committee. If you want to repeat after me, committee. Committee. Very good. And as you can see here, our mit part of the word is our stressed part. So committee, not committee. You see? It wouldn't be committee, it would be committee. Perfect. You're almost going duh, duh, duh. Committee. Very good. And if you think about it in this way, you can actually almost make it music, because that's what language is. We're basically singing as we speak. The committee meets today. Let's have a look at the word today. How many syllables does the word today have? Can you tell me? Today has 2 syllables. And as you can see here with our symbols, we have the second syllable, which is stressed. So if you want to repeat after me, today, not today, today. One more time. Today. Very good, very good. And that is all for our pronunciation part here. Let's go over to number 2 here. So, tenses and their usage. This is a big thing in English, and I'm sure that if you've been learning English for a certain amount of time, you have had at least a look at the tenses and seen how the different tenses correlate to different times in English and how you can use them. So as it says here, yeah, using the correct tense is essential for indicating the time of an action. And quite often it can get confusing as to when to use a certain tense, because it can be like, okay, I am talking about something in the past, so why should I use 2 different tenses in that situation? But we have reasons, and they actually help you express yourself a lot better when you're speaking in English. So let's have a look. So here we're looking at the simple past versus the present perfect. So yes, these are 2 that are quite often mixed up with each other because they have quite similar usage, but are used a little bit differently, and we're going to have a look at what the differences are right now. So yeah, the simple past is used for a completed action that has a time in the past. So what did you do? So let's have a look at what we have here. So what did you do last week? I saw the movie last week. Yes, what is our time frame here? Can you tell me? Yep, it's last week. That is our time. That is when it happened. We know that it happened and we know that it finished happening. So I saw that movie last week. Okay, and now let's have a look at a present perfect. So so she has traveled to France. So what we use the present perfect for is things that happened in the past and still have an effect now. In terms of you are still being affected by that thing. It was a past experience. So yeah, let's look here. So she has traveled to France. Has she still traveled to France now in the past? Yes, because she can't undo the fact that she went to France in the past, right? So here we will say she has traveled to France. We're talking about an experience in her life, as opposed to, she traveled to France last week, which is putting more emphasis on the fact that last week she did the action of going to France. So you can use both quite similarly, but they have a bit of a different specificity They're a bit more specific, I would say, when we're using the present perfect. I like to look at it as the simple tenses are focusing more on a specific time frame, whereas the perfect tenses are looking at how two different times, or two or more different times in the past, the future, the present, and so on and so forth, relate to each other and how they affect each other. So those are the two differences, and hopefully they help you because they're used quite often in English. Let's have a look at some correct and incorrect ways of using this. So an incorrect way of using this is, I have seen that movie last week. Can you tell me why that's incorrect? It's because we have the last week here, right? We're talking about a specific time. We're talking about something that happened at a specific time and finished. So what we actually want is, I saw the movie last week, instead of I have seen the movie last week. If we took out the last week, we could say, I have seen that movie. And that would be if someone has asked us if we have seen the movie, and yeah, I've seen that movie. I have had the experience in my life of watching that movie. And it still affects me to this day. I have still watched that movie. What's correct? So she has traveled to France. As I said, it is an experience in her life. And another correct one, she traveled to France yesterday. So this one is in the past the past simple. And this is, we have a time frame here. Sorry, you can't see the whole thing. Actually, no, you can. We have a time frame here, and we have a time that it happened and finished in the past, and we're specifying that. Let's now have a look, as we always do, at how we pronounce these words, at the pronunciations. So, how would you say this word here? This is just one syllable. So remember, we don't need any stresses. How would you say this? Saw. Saw. Remember, push the lips as far forward as you can as you say this. Saw. Saw. It doesn't matter if you look silly. Pull a funny face if you need to. But the more you practice, the better you will get at it, and the more you'll be able to pronounce, and as you read, it will just come naturally. So let's go. Saw. If you want to repeat after me. One more time. Saw. Very good. Now let's have a look at the next one. So, what is this word here? And how would you pronounce it? It's France. France. So if you're speaking British English, you wouldn't say France with a A sound. If you're speaking British English, you can say France. It's more of an R sound. If you make the sound on its own, it might even look a bit silly. It's R, R. But just practice that sound if you need to, because actually we have a lot of this sound in English. So to practice it is to actually improve your pronunciation. Let's move on. And next up we have the confusion of the past perfect. The past perfect is actually one of my favorite tenses. I know that sounds super nerdy, but I will own it. I love the past perfect. And what we use the past perfect for is when we're talking about something that happened before another point in the past. You see how once again we have the perfect tenses, and as I said before, it is using something and how two different times relate to each other. And in this time, we've actually got more than just one time. We've got the time that we're saying this thing, we got the time that happened after, and then we've also got the time that happened before that thing, which is in the past perfect. And yes, here we go. So let's have a look at how we would use this. So a correct way of using this is, I had finished my homework before the movie started. Quite a good way of practicing the tenses and really figuring out where they all stand in time is drawing out a timeline. It's drawing out a little map for yourself to really, really ingrain in your mind when these things happen. So let's have a look. let's draw this one out. And here is now, and this isn't too important as we speak because we're talking about the past. So let's see. So the movie started. Let's say the movie started here. This is when the movie began. What happened before the movie began? Oh, yeah, they did their homework, right? So they'd finished their homework before the movie began. So let's say here is when they finished their homework. We talk about this one in the past perfect. What you need to look out for is making sure that you put the past perfect on the correct one. And let's have a look here at an incorrect use of this. So, I finished my homework before the movie had started. So, why is this incorrect? This is incorrect because you're actually putting the past perfect on the wrong side of the sentence. You're putting it on the thing that happened afterwards. The movie is meant to be starting after you did the homework. You finished the homework and then you watched the movie. So it really should be, I had finished my homework before the movie started. Let's have a look at another one here. So they had left the party when we arrived, as opposed to they left the party when we had arrived. So can you tell me, and let's do this together, guys, because this is the way that you're going to learn. On our map, on our timeline, which one happened first? Which one should we have in the past perfect? Yeah, it's left the party, right? The last thing that happened in time that we're talking about is leaving the party. So left party. And then what happened after they left the party? And so we arrived. So they had left the party and then we arrived. So you can see, leaving the party happened before we arrived. And this one should always be in the past perfect. And just keep practicing. Like, even make up your own sentences here. And we would love to see down in the comments below your sentences and have a look at the sentences that you come up with, because that is really the best way of practicing and learning. Because when you're speaking, what are you doing? You're coming up with your own sentences. So why not practice now? Also, just so you know, if you look up at the top right-hand corner of the video, we have an I symbol up there that you can click, and you can get everything that you can see behind me on the board for free. I know, right? Like, what a deal. So go and get that for yourself. You can practice, you can look over it whenever you want. Even without watching this video, you can go and look at that. So get it, and I would definitely get that if I was you. So let's have a look at number 3. So, prepositions and their proper use. Can I tell you how many times I see this mistake made? And it's not a mistake that really damages a sentence. We will still understand what you mean, but if you want to sound properly fluent in English or anywhere near native level, you should be getting these right. And it is really good to practice them, because the more you practice, the better you get. So let's have a look at some of these. So the 3 most common ones, I would say, are in, on, and at. And each of these has their specific meaning, specific things that they go with, depending on if it's with time or if it's with place, and they're used in quite different situations quite often. So let's have a look at some of the correct ones, shall we? So, in April. You wouldn't say on April or at April, you'd say in April. So when we're talking about a month, we use the word in. In April. You are within, so April is here. And imagine you're in like a house that April is within. You're in April right now. That is where you are. Or whichever month you're in. So, so say to yourself right now, in, and then say whichever month you're in right now. Very good. Let's have a look at the next one. On Monday. So when we're talking about a day of the week, we're not as much inside that thing. We're kind of jumping from day to day, aren't we? So we almost have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we're kind of leapfrogging from day to day as the week goes on. We don't have enough time to be in Monday. So we would say, I'm on Monday, then you jump to Tuesday, it's on Tuesday. Very good. And last but not least, we have at 8 o'clock. And when a time is happening, you are at that time. That is where you are. This is what time is it? So at 8 o'clock, I will be going to the shops. I will go to the shops. So yes, you're going to use the at preposition for specific times here. Or you could even say at 8:30. It doesn't matter if you've got minutes. It's just use at for that kind of time. Let's have a look at some incorrect ones because they're just as helpful to learn as the correct ones are to help you. Let's have a look. So, on April. No, this is wrong, right? Because we're not jumping as fast from month to month. We spend a bit of time in April, right? We have a bit of time to this may be like a hotel. We've got April hotel, a May hotel, and we're going to spend a bit of time in April. In Monday. This is incorrect because we haven't got enough time to be in Monday. We are on Monday because we're jumping from day to day. Or at the weekend, we would say, on the weekend, I will go to the shops. This is more of a we're on the weekend. We're going to jump from weekend to weekend. You see what I mean? Okay. And some correct ones here. We have in the morning, and these ones are good to just practice and remember because some of them, as much as they make sense, some of them you really just need to practice. You see, like there are some things that you can really like you can find logic in, but then there are also some things that are just good to practice and just remember. So in the morning, repeat after me, in the morning. Say, in the morning, I will buy a new shirt. In the morning. Very good. All right. On the 5th of July. On the 5th of July. Yeah. Remember how it is in April, but we're talking about a more specific day in April. So we're not going to say in the 5th of July. We'll say on the 5th of July because the thing that we're actually focusing on here is the day. We're looking at the day that is happening. And last but not least, we have at night. At night. You're at night. You're at that specific time, which is night time. At night. Very good. Keep practicing, guys. And we're going to once again look at some incorrect ones here as we have on the morning. On the morning, this feels like some kind of old English, but this isn't correct. On the morning, in the morning. Remember? In the morning. Very good. At July 5th is wrong because we should say on the 5th of July. Remember, there's a bit of a word order difference here, but you could say on July 5th, on the 5th of July, something like this. And last but not least, in night, as we said before, should be at night. In night, at night, just practice the right one. At night, at night. So quite often in English, words like prepositions match with verbs. And it's quite important to get those right because if you get them wrong, it can actually be quite funny. And I mean, people will most likely understand your meaning, but they may find it funny or maybe even in some contexts, they won't be able to understand. So let's have a look at how some of these work. So she is good in painting. This is incorrect. Why is this incorrect? It's incorrect because of the in here. What should in be? Can anyone tell me? She is, the verb to be, plus an adjective. She is good, she is bad, she is great. And then we should say at. She is good at painting. She is good at singing. She is good at teaching. You see what I mean? So we use the verb to be adjective with at. And we would use this when someone is good at something, bad at something, something like this. But we're using the verb to be plus an adjective here. And yes, a correct one here is we are interested. So we have the verb interest, to be interested here. And what are we interested? Would we say we're interested about something, or I'm interested at something? No, we'd say I'm interested in something. I'm interested in the subject. In that subject, I have interest. So I'm interested in history. And what would be wrong is we are interested about history, because we use this preposition here. And quite often, maybe it might not even make sense why we're using these, but as I said before, just practice them, just learn them, make them a part of your being if you need to, and just keep practicing them, and you will get used to it, and it will become second nature after a while. You won't even have to think about it. So, fabulous. Let's have a look at some pronunciation here. So, we have the word interested. Interested. Let's have a look. Can you repeat after me? Interested. Interested. Where is the word stress in this word here? So this word is 3 syllables, right? So let's have our imaginary drum and we go interested. Interested, right? And where is our stressed syllable? Listen to me. Interested. Is it interested? Interested? No, it's interested. It's on the first syllable here. And we can see that from our apostrophe and our full stop here. So we have interested. And pay close attention to our E here, which is our tricky little E, which maybe quite often people want to pronounce. So interested. No, we would not even pronounce this E, and we're just going to say interested, 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 interested. And maybe you hear a bit of the E there, but it's not interested. We're not pronouncing this whole thing here. You see what I mean? Now let's have a look at the history. 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 Very good. It's not history, which if you broke up the word would be his story. But we have history. History. Fabulous. Yeah, you're missing out this whole section here. History. History. Keep practicing, guys. Keep practicing. Let's have a look now at number 4. Modal verbs and their nuances. So, modal verbs that we're going to be talking about today are can and could. Can and could. So what are the differences between can and could? There are differences, and we're going to have a look at them now. So can focuses more on a fact, something that is solid, something that is real there. So I can swim. Like, so maybe you are about to go to the beach. Someone says to you, can you swim? Like, are you going to be safe if you go into the ocean? Can you swim? And yes, I can swim. What could is used for is more of an idea. It's more of an idea of something. So I could swim. I could swim if I had to. I could swim if I was thrown in a swimming pool. You see what I mean? If something happened that meant that I could swim, I could do that hypothetically. So imagine when we see could, we almost have these 2 little things around it. We have these 2 little speech marks that are saying, I could do that if that was the case, but I'm not saying I will, or I can 100% right now. You see what I mean? Let's have a look at some here that we have. So, I can swim is the correct one. The incorrect one is I could swim if you're talking about current ability. So you wouldn't say, like if someone said to you, okay, we're going to the beach today, can you swim? You wouldn't say, yeah, I could swim. This would be weird because we're talking about something that is solid, something that is going to happen. And you're going to say that you can do that, otherwise it might be dangerous if you can't swim and you're trying to jump in the sea. There we go. So correct, I could help you tomorrow. I could help you tomorrow. So if you need help tomorrow, I could do that. It's not a solid thing. I'm not saying that I will help tomorrow. I'm just saying that if in the occasion of you needing help, I could do that. That is something I could do. It's also a polite way to offer something to someone. I could help you. I could do that. It's a softer way to say than I can do that. You see? And an incorrect one is I can help you tomorrow, and that's if it's a conditional thing. It's conditional if we're saying, yeah, like, if you need help, I can help you tomorrow. We wouldn't say this. If you need help tomorrow, I could help you. You see? All right, let's now have a look at some of our pronunciation, as we so always do. Let's have a look at the first one here. One syllable. How would you pronounce this word? Can. Can. It's the same pronunciation as the word for the thing that you drink maybe a Coke out of, a can of Coke. But the same one when you're saying that you can do something. One more time. Can. Remember to get that sound. I know it sounds and maybe looks a bit silly, but it will help, I promise. So get that in your almost in the middle of your throat here. Can. It's quite a harsh sound, but when we're speaking, this is how we make that noise, you see? Next up, could. Could. Can you repeat after me? Could. Could. There you go. And here we have the word tomorrow. This is quite a long word. Tomorrow. 3 syllables. Tomorrow. Tomorrow. And we actually pronounce it it's quite a funny word to pronounce because we say the t as a throwaway sound. So tomorrow. We're not saying tomorrow. We're saying tomorrow. We're throwing that T into the air before we actually move on to the rest of the word. So it's almost more like this. Tomorrow, tomorrow. Fabulous. And as you can see here with our mark here and our full stop, this one is our stressed syllable. Tomorrow. Tomorrow, not tomorrow. Tomorrow. It wouldn't be right. It sounds like a funny name in a TV show. Tomorrow, not tomorrow. It's tomorrow. You see? So just keep practicing that sound. So tomorrow. Great. Fabulous. So incorrect would be I can help you tomorrow. Yeah, as you've seen here. Great. And here we have some other modal verbs here. So must and have to. So what must expresses is subjective necessary. So something like I must lose weight. So this is something that personally you've made that decision. I must do that. I was like, I must go to the shops tomorrow and buy myself something. Like I must do that. You've decided that yourself. But when something is a bit more externally, it has happened more externally and you need to do that, it comes from have to. So I have to lose weight. This is maybe the doctor has told you that you have to lose weight. Otherwise, maybe it won't be healthy. So I have to lose weight. This has come from outside of me. It's not just a decision that I've made. It's a decision that has been made to me. You see what I mean? And let's have a look at another one. So I have to attend a meeting. So maybe your job has told you that you have to attend this meeting, otherwise maybe you'll be in trouble if you don't attend this meeting. So you have to do that. Your boss has told you that you have to do that. I must attend this meeting. There's a meeting happening. You don't have to do it, but you feel like you should. I must do that. I must attend that meeting. And as it says here, it's incorrect with must if it is due to an external rule. We shouldn't say, I must attend a meeting if someone has told you that you have to do that. That would be incorrect. We should instead use have to. So just remember that slight difference there. Have to being something has been done from the exterior to you and you need to do that thing. And a more internal thing that you want to do and that you feel like you have to do would be must. I must do that. Oh, I must get something. I must get some tomatoes from the shops tomorrow. So you've made that decision yourself. Let's now have a look at some common vocabulary mix-ups. So as it says here, even people who are at a very high level in English confuse very similar words quite often. So we have homophones, which are words that sound pretty much the same, with some exceptions here. They are and they're a little bit different, but very similar. And here we're going to talk about the differences, especially in spelling, because when you're writing in English, you need to be able to tell the differences here. When you're speaking, you can get by without that a bit more, but when you're writing, you need this. So, their home is big. What is their talking about? There is talking about a group of people. Their home is big. A way that I used to remember this when I was younger was that the I in there was a person, and you're talking about their house. So their house isn't just a group of people, it can actually be a singular person as well. So their house is big. You're talking about a person over there. So there, imagine this person who is the I in there. It's a terrible stick figure, but it's all right. It does the job. There is going to, we're talking about that person there. Their house is big. This person's house is big. And they're the little I in the word there. Let's now move on to they are. There. You see a bit of a difference in pronunciation there from there and there. You see? Let's now have a look at what there is. They are going to the park. They are going to the park. There is a shortened form for they are. They are. You see? So here is the group of people, and we are saying they are going to the park, and this is the conjugation for they in the present tense. So they are going to the park. So they are going to the park. And last but not least, we have over there. So the book is over there. And this one is the last one in the homophone collection of theirs. And there is when you're pointing towards something. So let's get our stick man here. So he's pointing over there. And you'll point at something and say there. So this is spelled T-H-E-R-E. And it's best to just remember the other ones, as in you have the I for the person that you're talking about, possessive thing. You have the they are with the apostrophe here, which is instead of the A-R-E. And then the last but not least is there, as in T-H-E-R-E, as in pointing towards something. The book is there. You see? Let's now have a look at some incorrect ones. So, their house is big. So, there. Do you remember what form of there this is? This is the T-H-E-R-E one. This is the pointing at something, right? So this isn't talking about a person's possessive thing. So, what should the person's possessive thing have? It should have the I, right, as our stick man that we have already established. So it should be their house is big. There with the I. Okay, let's see the next one. They're going to the park. They're going to the park. So remember, this isn't talking about a group of people. This is just talking about one person with the I, as we only have one I there. What we should have is the verb conjugation, they are, because we have the group they. So they're going to the park. They're going to the park. You see? And last but not least, the book is over there. And as I said before, we have the I there, and it shouldn't be this. It should just be the ERE form, there. So this one should be, let me move out the way so you can see. The book is over there with an ERE as you're pointing at the book. You see. And now let's have a look at some pronunciation. And the ones in red, let's have a look at them. The book. How would you say the word book? Book. As we have said before, we have the, as we can talk about now, we have the O and the O, so the two O's together. Quite often this makes an oo sound, right? But in this case, it's making a It's quite a quick one. Book, book. Repeat after me. Book. Very good job. And let's have a look at the next one. So there, there. Remember, it's your tongue is going to your top teeth and you're making a buzzing sound as the air slowly passes through the teeth. So there. But it's a quick one. It shouldn't be there. It can be a quick there, there. But as long as you've got that sound, it will make sense. And here we have there. It's the same pronunciation. T-H-E-R-E, T-H-E-I-R are the same pronunciation. There and there. Very good. And if you want to look up at the top right hand corner of the video here, we have a link that you can click the I if you can't already see it. And you can get all of the things that you can see behind me, all for free. I know, right? I can't believe it too. So you can go and get it over there and you can get all of these resources for yourself, for your free time, and also while you're watching these videos if you want them in another format as well. So another big thing in language is false friends. What are false friends? False friends can be quite funny, actually. False friends are when two words in two different languages sound similar, but actually have two different meanings. So believe me, I've had my fair share of false friends mix-ups. When visiting Poland, I said to someone, "Que pasa?" Which actually sounds a lot like the Polish word "kiełbasa," which means sausage. So I basically said sausage to someone instead of asking how they were. So believe me, I've made my fair share of false friends mix-ups, and you probably will as well, and that's okay, you know? So just keep practicing and you'll get it, and most people will understand that it's just a mix-up, you see? Let's have a look at some of them. So, she was embarrassed. What does this mean in English? So embarrassed means ashamed, right? So it means that you're ashamed about something, you're embarrassed about something that happened, maybe you're embarrassed about something in your house or whatever, like you're ashamed of something. Whereas in Spanish, and I'm going to try the pronunciation, but it's not going to be perfect, she was embarazada, which means in Spanish, pregnant. So just be careful when going from Spanish to English, that if you're saying that someone is pregnant, maybe don't say that they're embarrassed, because it might not be the best thing to say to them. But I'm sure that they would understand. But it's good to know. So it's not embarrassed, it's actually pregnant in Spanish. So next up we have the word sympathetic, which means in English, compassionate. It means someone's empathetic. They understand how someone's feeling. They can be friendly with someone even when they're sad or something like this, you see? And they're being compassionate to them. Whereas in Spanish, we have simpático, which is Spanish for nice, not sympathetic. Whereas, like, as you can see, they're very similar words. And like, yeah, if you used sympathetic for someone who's nice, okay, it's not going to be the biggest reach, but it's good to know because it will sound a little bit weird because we wouldn't use sympathetic in that scenario. You see? Okay, so now let's have a look at some pronunciation for these. Let's look at first, embarrassed. embarrassed. This is quite a long word, so if you want to repeat after me, embarrassed. Not embarrassed. Embarrassed is embarrassed. It's almost more of a, yeah, as you can see here, I-M sound. Embarrassed. Embarrassed. Very good. Very good. Next up, pregnant. Pregnant. So this word, you're starting off with almost a lip trill. Pr. Pregnant. Pregnant. Very good, guys. Pregnant. And yes, and now we're going to move on to a few more pronunciation pitfalls. As we have already said, proper pronunciation is essential for clear communication, whereas you will be understood most likely, if not, but if you want to sound more like a native speaker, it is good to really practice. Just keep practicing. The more you practice, the better you get, and you will really thank yourself for it in the future, because the more you actually work on that, the more you're going to either train yourself in good habits when it comes to pronunciation, or you're going to unlearn bad habits when it comes to pronunciation. And I would always say that if you have your own language while your own accent while speaking English, that's amazing. And if that's what you want, it's an amazing thing to have. But if you want to sound like a native English speaker, really follow along with how I'm pronouncing everything. You can even on the YouTube app slow down what I'm saying to a much slower pace and really practice at a slow speed how I'm saying each of those words. So let's now have a look at some of these words and just follow along. You can even rewind if you need to, you know? So correct. I want to record a song. I want to record a song. Where is the stress in this word here? Is it in the first syllable? No, it's the second one, right? Record, not record. Record. Why is it important that record has the stress on the second syllable? It's because there is actually another word in English that has the same word but with the stress on the first syllable, and this one is a noun. So here the word is, instead of I want to record a song, you could say I have a record. I have a record. And a record is a thing that people use to play music on. A record player. And you can play a record. So as you can see, the word record and record are similar, and they have very similar meanings because the verb to record is to make a record. You see? But we have a different stress in each of those words. So really, really look out for those things, because you don't want to say something like, I want to record a song, because that would just sound odd and people would wonder what you mean there. So next up we have some vowel sounds. So vowel sounds are very important, as I'm sure you know already. And when we're using different vowel sounds, quite often spelling doesn't always show us which vowel sound to have in English, as we have so many sounds depending on what two letters are together and what word and what context we're talking in, as opposed to some languages where they are much more firm to how everything is spelled. So in English, let's have a look. So she sat on the seat. Sat, seat. Quite similar words here. Whereas the seat, we have the E and the A sound, which is making the E sound. It's almost a long form of this word, a seat. You're not going to say she sat on the sit. You're going to say she sat on the seat. Eat, eat. And yeah, look, you can see the word to eat here as well. So actually, when you're practicing these words, if you see other words within them, quite often that could be a good indication of how it should be pronounced. So she sat on the seat. An incorrect one would be, as I just said here, she sat on the sit. She sat on the sit. No, it's not right. She sat on the seat. Very good. Okay, so let's look at the next correct one here. So he needs to heal his heel. So here, as I'm sure you've noticed, they both sound exactly the same. And as you can see with the phonetic transcriptions here, it is exactly the same, but they have different spellings. So H-E-A-L and H-E-E-L. So as you can see, the fact that E and A are there and E and E are there doesn't change them from being the same word. You see? Just in a different context with a different meaning. So he needs to heal. The verb to heal is to get better, and something to get better if you're hurt. His heel, which is this part of your foot, the heel of your foot. So he needs to heal his heel, same pronunciation. And incorrect would be he needs to heal his heel, which is a spelling difference here. So heel would not be right here because you're using the heel as in the heel of your foot, and then you're using the heel as in to heel. So it should be the opposite way around here. Okay, so guys, so that is the video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope that it helped. And I'm sure, and I really mean this, that if you just keep drilling it, keep going through it, just keep practicing, and you will get it. And as I said before, you can really slow down the video and just practice those minute words that you want to get and pronounce correctly. And you will. Just keep practicing, and the best work comes when you're having fun. So, I've been James, we've been ISpeakSpokeSpoken.com, and joyfully...